Hello, music listeners, underground enthusiasts, and anybody who's ever had a crush on a cartoon character. We're back, baby. The wisdom teeth are gone, all four of them. I feel better than ever. I got a lot more room in my mouth now. I don't got these big old teeth of wisdom bothering me. Who needed them? Whoever needed them in the first place. I don't feel any less smart after having them removed. Whatever. We're back with a weekly tracks list. I missed last week because of, said wisdom tooth removal, but we're back. We're in top form. We're gonna do this shit right. We're gonna do this shit now. I'm excited to be back. We're going to start this week's list off with a kintsugi song, which would be Escape featuring Juicebox, and this song is a nice, slow-moving, moody shoegaze track that has some great roomy atmosphere to it. The vocals have a bit of a polished mix to them, which works pretty well with the saturated guitars and the steady drums. And I really enjoy the writing on this as well from both artists. Kintsugi paints a picture of a dreamy and hazy emotional void, all delivered with a downtrodden and droning delivery. It's very trancy and it pulls you into the ambient moodiness of the track. And Juicebox transitions into the track beautifully with a smooth fade-in, with some fantastic singing and a similar shiny mix. I think that a lot of underground experimentation has produced this sort of wonderful crossover of familiar and tried and true genres with new mixing approaches and techniques. And I think that this song is a great example of that happening. When their vocals blend together for some harmonies towards the end, that is the best example of this sensation, of this sort of feeling, of this trend. It's glossy and processed, but it still feels right at home with the slow, jagged chords and more traditional elements of the genre. This is a slow jam for sure. I'm loving it. I can't say I'm loving it. McDonald's is going to copyright strike this video. Up next, we got a polearm track with Mercy. Right out the gate, the plucky guitar melodies are a really great launch pad for this track. They're floaty and playful and act as a sharp contrast with the very emotional lyrics. Some buzzy synth melodies help transition into a much more abrasive and brash synth section with overwhelming bass and crashing percussion. I'm a big fan of these sharp and drastic turns in vibe. I think that the simple and light guitar for the first half of the track is good on its own. It's good. It's a nice sound. But in the context of the track, I love the sharp juxtaposition that it has compared to the very overwhelmingly produced second half of the track. Basically, this song is thoughtfully produced. And polearm's vocal performance matches the intensity of this track so well. The first half of the track has these intense half-shouted melodies detailing shame, pain, and coping with loss when faced with regret. And it has some saturation. It's got some depth to it, but they're more or less kind of dry, pretty straightforward vocals. But when the production shifts, so does the vocal mix. The wide distortion sounds fantastic over the harsh production without becoming so detached from legibility that you don't know what's happening. It's a really nice balance of elements. It's jagged and painfully aware of its vulnerability, but it's also really pretty in that regard. We had a new track from Savage Gasp, Kamaara, and sxmpra. I think it's sxmpra. You guys all put X's instead of vowels in your names, and like that could be sxmpra or sxmpra or sxmpra. It could be anything really. It's only left to my guess and my interpretation of the X, of the placeholder, of the independent variable or the unknown variable. I haven't taken a math class in a long time. I have really been enjoying Savage Gasp's recent tracks, and on this track, although he does lean into the distorted horrorcore adjacent sound that he's been cultivating over the past 4 or so years, this one really does stand out among those other tracks in his discography in terms of vocal delivery and in terms of mix, because he quickly abandons the gravelly low-tone delivery that kicked off his initial burst of widespread popularity in favor of highly saturated high-end screams. And if I'm being honest, I might like this more. This might be better in my opinion. The harsh distortion and vocal energy is top-notch and super sturdy. It's impressively done, and I would love to hear him take this approach on future tracks. It is refreshing while still maintaining familiar elements of his other songs. And sxmpra's verse picks up the pace with a fast-paced and intricate delivery. It sounds super great over the piano and the rattling 808s. This piano loop is beautiful. It's so good. And the writing and delivery of this verse justifies the speed of it. It's a lot of fun. I know some people are like, oh, well, I think fast rapping's it's corny. Not on this track. It works really well in context. Like, it's great to listen to. And Kamaara's hushed and staticky delivery does a really good job of contrasting the other performances, and it brings it down to a much moodier and darker toned track. Overall, great job from everyone involved. I would like to hear more of this. Why We Wish has dropped a track recently with I Understand That I'm Not Perfect. The track starts out as a pretty and melancholic acoustic rock track with some sharply pitch corrected but also smooth vocals wearily crooning about loss and betrayal, and that's good. That's all good, right? But then it immediately shifts gears into this chanted and heavily layered, but also short hook, and it is good. It is really good. It ends as quickly as it started, but Why We Wish's mix and approach to this section makes it feel so empowering in a way. Like, it's such a big and almost cinematic sound. And when this energy kicks in, the lyrics reach full effect and they impact hard, because at its core, despite sounding and despite kind of being alternative emo, at its core, this is a pretty angry song. The sharp and bright vocals over such a bassy and abrasive instrumental help reinforce that anger, while the acoustic sections translate the bitter sadness and pain of the track. It's really well done, and it's a lot of fun to listen to. We've got a new track from Will with Right Now featuring meanty, I think that's how you say it, and manni or manni. I feel like over the past few months doing these videos, I've actually gotten worse at guessing how to pronounce people's names. We're gonna ignore that. We're gonna ignore him. He was scratching at the door, and I would rather have him on my desk than doing damage to an apartment that I do not own. This is our summer song of the week. It is a fucking bop. The delicate and soft keys rolling over a groovy bass line and tight percussion makes this song feel good, warm, sweet, all of those synonyms for those words, and Will's writing and vocals only contribute to this, with a smooth timbre gliding across the instrumental, every so often hitting a sweet falsetto inflection to flex a little bit. It's dream pop boiled down to its most integral components. I cannot emphasize enough how clean this track is, and meanty's vocals, when they come in, easily blend into this dreamy yet hard-hitting vibe with great chemistry, firing off clean and super pretty notes, also hitting those falsettos. Okay, come on. He does it to himself. He really does. And towards the end, manni only does the same by helping the song solidify its status as a hit. I don't know. I love how straightforward this track is. It is purely just smooth and pretty. We got a new track from eunhae with I Don't Ever Want to Be Without You. eunhae switches up the pace in our video so far to deliver a sparkly and polished dance track. The sliding keys and the twinkly chords are insanely fun and borderline whimsical in a way. The song itself is, just sweet and cute, diving headfirst into idealized romance and affection. And with all of these elements, the percussion gives it a nice balance with the bass and claps to make this a certified head bopper. It's uncompromising in a way, and I respect that. No turmoil, no emotional wavering, just bouncy and bright dance music under eunhae's equally bright vocals. Because honestly, with this sound, I would kind of expect some noticeable layering or quirky mixing or kind of like out there choices, but her vocals are fairly dry and straightforward, and it works super well. It helps the dreaminess of the song translate, and everything feels intentional and precise. I'm a big fan. Dylan Lotus has given us After Dark, which is going to switch up the pace again to talk about a rock song. We got a rock song, baby. Dylan's mid-range timbre was built for the structured and rapid punk rock delivery. This shit feels like 2000s with all of the fat cut out. The dry mix sounds great over the thrashing percussion and choppy guitar, and in true form of the genre, Dylan tackles heartbreak and moving on with some writing that is applicable to a wide audience while still remaining notably personal, questioning where things could have gone wrong, longing for that feeling again while also acknowledging the reality of things being over. Overall, it is a clean track. It's really well done. The instrumental has depth and punch, and Dylan's vocals and writing are entertaining while remaining grounded in its themes. It's great. It's a lot of fun. I'm glad to see that this genre is in good hands. Good hands in the underground. Then we have Breakwait with The Ocean Seam. Every now and then, the title of a song truly represents the listening experience at a deep aesthetic level. The Ocean Seam is one of those tracks. The beautiful resonance of the melodies feels like the noises of the ocean or sounds that represent it on an emotional level. The trancy keys are like currents moving through water, and the instrumental bridge feels like waves crashing in sync with the rhythm of everything around and inside of them. This song has beautiful sound design, like gorgeous sound design. I cannot get over how well crafted and structured everything is. At its softest and most gentle lows, and at its most abrasive and jagged highs, everything is done with so much intention and thought put behind it that it's almost kind of scary. This is by far one of my favorite beats that I have heard this year, that I've talked about on the weekly tracks list. I mean, it's fucking unreal. my words cannot do it justice. Breakwait's vocals are fantastic as well, delivered with ease, with a thick and buzzy mix that has only seen more and more prevalence in underground music over the past year or so. When the first drop happens on this track, you will be transported to a different dimension, I promise you. And Breakwait has their inspirations for this track listed in the description, but I do want to say that as far as I'm concerned, this is an essential Breakwait experience. This is all them. Go listen to this song. And to end things off, I have allotted a little section at the end to do some self-promo with Mossman, a track that I dropped 9 days ago. It is featuring Sid6. It is done on top of beautiful production from Eerie Skies. It is a song about recognizing that growth kind of happens whether or not you want it to, and sort of facing that growth when confronted with I guess habitual stagnancy or habitual complacency, because sometimes that's easier than trying to move forward, I guess, because that takes work, trying to. I'm very proud of it. It is the first of 3 songs from the Mossman EP. The second song drops on July 5th at 8 p.m. I hope that you will also listen to that. That one is called Inertia. It is my favorite song that I have made in months, maybe even years. I appreciate you guys for not only supporting the channel, but also, supporting my music. It's a lot of fun. Thank you. It's cool. Thank you so much. And that's going to end out our weekly tracks list. Here are some honorable mentions to the side of my head that you can go listen to, songs that I had not talked about on this video, but I think they're still pretty good, and you should check them out, form an opinion on them, whatever. I haven't said this in a while, I feel like, but in the comments, tell me if you listened to any of these songs. And let me know what you thought about them. If you loved them, if you hated them, if you thought they were just kind of okay. And if you haven't listened to them, go listen to them and come back to me. We'll rendezvous in the comments section and you can tell me your thoughts. Catch me in the next video where we put my wisdom teeth back in. Bye.